Okay, now I am going to present the second part of this studio lecture, that is the GPS applications to space weather effects and water vapor calculations. So, as you know the space weather, what is the space weather? Space weather is the weather between sun and earth. Generally, we talk about the weather and climate, that is the atmospheric, tropospheric weather and climate, but here we are going to talk about the effect on space weather, the weather between sun and earth. So, sun is the one of the controlling parameter, as I have told you. So, the solar wind comes, solar flares are coming, coronal mass injection are coming. So, these all affects the near earth environment. So, near earth environment will be affected by these space weather parameters. So, here I will give you some results and information about the space weather. So, space weather has a tremendous applications in different, and they are going affect whole near earth environment. They are going to affect our satellites. They damage the solar panels of the satellite, produce eddy currents, and satellites are damaged. They also affect the different satellites, and they are charged and drag in the orbit, and you are heard about the story of the Skylab fall in the atmosphere due to these space weather parameters. They affect the astronauts, various astronauts like Kalpana Chawla, Sunita Williams, they go to International Space Station and they work to repair the satellites and do the experiment, and they are exposed by these solar wind parameters. So, they have a space weather effect. They also affect our communication, because ionosphere is used for communication. So, the signal coming from satellite passes through the ionosphere, they produce a plasma bubble, which is also known as ionospheric irregularities. So, they degrade the transmission. So, sometimes the transmission of the TV and mobile is degraded, and we take the fluctuations in the signal. They also affect the ground system, that is the telecommunication cable disturbance. They also affect the pipeline, there is a erosion in the pipeline. They also affect the signal, the automatic signals, railway signals, electronic signal. So, space weather had tremendous applications. GPS used to study these space weather effects. So, geomagnetic indices are used, that is the KP index, which is a planetary index. We use the DST index, we use the disturbed day, D day and quiet day. So, it depends upon the KP index. So, some disturbed days. So, these are the parameters which is used to study the geomagnetic storm effects. So, what are the effect of geomagnetic storms on total electron content? So, we have chosen several storms, and we have tried to study the effect of geomagnetic storms on total electron content. We have used the data for Hyderabad, Varanasi as well as the Bangalore to study these, and these are the days of storm: 8th March 2008, 11th October 2008 and 24th August 2005. So, here one of the geomagnetic storm occurs on 8th March 2008. We see that the total electron content of red line is the storm day TEC, and the blue is the average quiet day, and we found that when there is a storm, there is a large change, total 21 total electron content. So, this storm has changed large, and here we also tried to find by using different parameters. One parameter is the DST index, second parameter is the interplanetary magnetic field. Interplanetary magnetic field is the planetary magnetic field for solar origin which comes. So, when it is a southward direction, there is a large change in the geomagnetic field, and the third parameter is the speed of the solar wind. So, speed of solar wind, you see that speed of solar wind is varying from 300 km per second, it goes to 700 km per second in the total event. So, there is a large change in the solar wind parameter, and we have calculated the VTEC, vertical total electron content, and when we have tried to see the change in VTEC, and we found that when there is a storm on 9th March and when DST index is a peak of maximum, there is a large change, and this change is around 50%. So, 50% total electron had been found change. So, there is a great effect. The second storm we have taken by of 11 October 2008. In this 11 October 2008, we have tried to see, and we observed that there is also a change. One day there is a decrease, but 2 days there are increase from mean value. And to study it more clearly, we have plotted the, similarly we have plotted the IMF, interplanetary BZ, the vertical component of earth magnetic field. Then we have calculated the velocity, and we found that the velocity increases from 300 to 550 kilometer per second, and the total change occurred 40 to 50%. So, we have seen that 40 to 50% change is occurred when there is a large sharp change in the DST index. So, geometric storm is affecting largely in the total electron content. So, here we have tried to tabulate the total 7 geometric storm which we have studied from May 2007 to April 2009 at Varanasi, and we found that there is a large change of 22 total electron unit, 10 TEC unit, 17 TEC unit, 19 TEC unit and 12 TEC unit. So, most of the time it depends upon the day and night also. So, when it is night, the change will be large, and day also we have found. So, we have found a large change, whereas the DST index is not so much, it is a weak storm. So, weak storm has also affected. So, that is the low solar activity period, but there is a change is large. So, that is the reason. And the second effect we have tried to see on 24th August 2005. So, this storm is a very, very intense storm. Its value goes to minus 200 NT, nanotesla. So, you will observe that the first plot gives that its value is minus 200 nanotesla. So, there is a sharp increase in the geomagnetic storm effect. And if you see the interplanetary magnetic field, it goes to minus 40. It means there is a sharp southward turning. So, geomagnetic field has turned southward with a large effect, and similarly the velocity goes 500 to 700. So, there is sharp increase in the solar wind velocity, and when we have tried to see the number of particles, so number of particles also goes to 30 per centimeter cube. So, all the parameter had enhanced during the geomagnetic storm period, and when we have plotted the total electron content for the all satellites, we found there is a large increase. This increase in the term of percentage we have calculated, and we have found that there is a large increase in the geometric storm. We have also tried to find the periodicity. Is there any periodicity? So, we have plotted the quiet mean TEC and the storm TEC, and we found that there is a periodicity, there is a periodic structure. This is a special type of observation we have found, and this periodicity of around 45 minutes, this shows that there is a generation of gravity wave. So, gravity wave periodicity has influenced the ionosphere. So, that is the new result which we have tried to present in this year. So, what we found by the conclusion of this study, in the case of a storm of March, vertical TEC enhances. This is due to the storm generated wind lifting effect. From the storm of October, we found that in 11 October and 13 October, there is a fountain effect. Fountain effect is the increase in the geometric storm due to the equatorial E cross B field. So, this is the fountain effect and a storm generated wind lifting effect both. For the storm of 24th August, there is enhancement, and we have two peaks P1 and P2. So, this is also due to the fountain effect. These enhancements during a storm period produces additional GPS positioning error. So, that storm is affecting our GPS. So, when we are calculating GPS and the storm has came, it means the position will be error, and this error is lots of affecting. That is the 8 meter positioning error will be observed, and 8 meter positioning error is a very, very big error. So, we have observed that 8 meter to 12 meter error has been recorded when there is a geometric storm. So, there is a need to study and minimize the error by improving the models of the TEC calculations. So, range error has been found, and range error has been found to increase in the GPS. So, range error in the 6 to 7 meter is calculated by the storm effect. Second, I have tried to study the solar flares. The solar flares are devastating phenomena. It occurs in few minutes, and when it occurs from the group of sunspots, there is a group of sunspot finds, and they produces a solar flare. So, in few minutes large numbers of ions and electrons will be transmitted to the whole over the solar system, and when it is earth directed, they are going to affect a very large. So, when they releases energy, that is the 10 to the power 26 watt energy is released in just 4 minutes. So, there is a large coronal mass injection, and this change we have tried to study of a strong solar flare and a strong solar flare of class S. There is a class X class flare, and there is a change of 15 to 20 total electron content has been recorded. The third study we have tried to present the ionospheric response during the total solar eclipse. So, at Varanasi on 22nd July 2009, we have observed a complete total solar eclipse in the morning at around 5:30. So, the path of this totality was over the Varanasi, and it has gone to over Japan. So, we have optimized our instrument, and we have recorded this total solar eclipse by using GPS as well as very low frequency wave. And where we recorded GPS, we found that there is a large decrease in the total electron content. We know that ionosphere is formed by the solar ionization. So, when solar disk was covered by the shadow of the moon, the total electron content must decrease, and we have recorded there is a percentage change in TEC of around 40%. The total solar eclipse had decreases on 22nd July, 40% decrease in the total electron content, and there is a periodicity. There is a periodic variation with 45 minutes, and solar eclipse also generated a gravity wave of periodicity 45 minutes, which we have confirmed and by using the analysis. The second eclipse, which is the annual eclipse. Annual eclipse comes when they form a ring effect, that is the ring like covered the not total sun, but there is a ring of fire will come, that is called annular solar eclipse. So, 15th January 2010 Varanasi experience annual eclipse. It was not by the total, it is only 60 to 70% Varanasi. Totality was found on the Trivandrum as well as the different regions of the Kerala. So, we have optimized our instrument to study this ionospheric response, and we found again the change in total electron content up to 30 to 40%. So, the partial of 60 to 70% eclipse has also given the effect up to 30 to 40%. So, this study is very important, and apart from this, the second study is the water vapor study, because the water vapor is the one of the important parameter. The knowledge of water vapor provides the understanding the monsoon variability. We are living in a monsoon era, and our day to day variability, our agriculture, our life depends upon the monsoon. So, when monsoon will onset, when monsoon will spread, when monsoon will become dried is affected by the variability of water vapor. It also used to study the numerical weather prediction. It will give the study of thermodynamics of the atmosphere, and water, you know, water vapor is a greenhouse gas. So, it also play a role in the cloud formation and rainfall. So, information about the variability of water vapor is very important, and GPS provides continuous information, and we can say real time information about the water vapor. So, here we have calculated the GPS water vapor, and you see that 1 year data of 2007 we have plotted, and you will see that water vapor has a maximum in as soon as the June and July, it has a peak value of 80 millimeter at Varanasi, and then it decreases. So, in pre-monsoon it has decreased, post-monsoon it decreased, and maximum has a last variation. To compare our ground data, we have plotted the water vapor with the satellite, that is the Terra and Aqua satellite, and sensor is the MODIS. MODIS, the sensor will also provide the water vapor. So, we have compared our ground data of GPS and the satellite data of the MODIS. We found that there is a correlation of 0.98, R2 is 0.9. So, R square is so beautiful. We have also analyzed for Kanpur, IIT Kanpur has a GPS receiver. So, we have compared Varanasi GPS receiver or IIT Kanpur, and both have a variability of 97 and 98. So, 97 to 98% beautiful correlation between ground and satellite is found. So, we also compared with AIRS. AIRS satellite will provide the water vapor, and here we found that more than 90 to 92%. So, our GPS is a very good instrument to measure the water vapor, and it is more reliable than the satellite, because satellite is affected by the cloud. When there is a cloud, so there is a problem with satellite, but ground we are getting more better observations. So, monthly and seasonal variation of water vapor as we have tried to plot, and we found that summer, winter, monsoon and spring, monsoon has a large effect. It may be true because water vapor is the monsoon phenomena. So, here we have shown the full Indian plot, the whole system, and you will see that maximum is in the monsoon 2007 and 2008. So, this is satellite data. Total water vapor is the maximum in the monsoon. Pre-monsoon, summer and winter we have a less value, and winter is very dry of the water vapor. The variability of water vapor with different parameter we have tried to check. So, we have used the temperature. Temperature is a parameter, and also we have used the rainfall. So, when we compare the temperature or rainfall, we found that temperature is correlated with only 60%, but rainfall is 81%. It shows that the increase on water vapor will start the precipitation over the Indian region. So, the satellite rainfall also we have taken, the TRMMM data we have tried to correlate, and we found that it is a 89, 82, 82%. So, R square is 89, 82 and 92, that is a very good relation with the ground and satellite correlation with the rainfall and water vapor. So, the water vapor study shows that the water vapor is very important parameter which can be calculated by GPS, and it is well correlated with the satellite, MODIS data, AIRS data as well as the GPS data. A high correlation of GPS with satellite data shows accuracy of GPS data. So, it is so accurate. So, simple instrument with the 10 to 15 lakh we can make a water vapor measurement reliable than the satellite, and it will use for validate the satellite data also. A column water vapor estimation is found to be very sensitive with surface temperature and monsoon onset. So, it is correlated with the monsoon onset and rainfall. So, GPS water is more correlated with the satellite rainfall TRM data, that ground observation rainfall attributed to the more coverage of satellite data than the ground base. So, satellite data can be validated, satellite data can be improved. So, anybody can get the data. So, it is very important parameter to study. The transport of water vapor. So, we have taken to find the transport of the water vapor. So, there is a wind, and this wind transport the water vapor for one place to other place in the Indian subcontinent. So, what we have done? We have taken two places of GPS, one at Varanasi, another at the Kanpur station. So, both station GPS we have taken, and we have found to study the transport of water vapor for one place to another place. So, when transport of water vapor is studied by using the cross correlation analysis, the cross correlation analysis has used to find the transport, and we found that there is a 7 hour to 8 hour time taken from transport of the water vapor for Kanpur to Varanasi. For Kanpur to Varanasi, it takes 7 hours to 8 hours of transport, and when there is a monsoon period, the transport becomes large. It takes only 4 hours to reach from Varanasi to Kanpur, because the wind direction has changed. So, several data we have taken from pre-monsoon and monsoon, and during monsoon the transport of water vapor becomes influentially and large. It takes faster speed of the transport. So, winter season it is very slow, because winter is very dry. In winter the water vapor is very low, as you have seen. So, the transport also becomes very slow, and it has taken 12 hours from Kanpur to Varanasi to travel same distance. So, pre-monsoon it has taken 8 hours, in monsoon it has taken only 4 hours, and in winter season it taken 12 hours. So, this has shown that transport of the winter. So, the water vapor transport is a very important parameter at two stations of 325 km apart, and during this the moisture of Arabian Sea has increased, and we observed there is a change of direction of transport of water vapor. There is a lag up to 11 hours during monsoon season from IG planes. So, this our result shows that the transport characteristic of water vapor as better with GPS data has potential application in studying the moisture loading and transport during dust storm. We see that lots of dust storm moves in the pre-monsoon season, and we are experiencing that when dust storm comes, the rainfall comes just after the dust storm. So, this confirms that when dust storm comes, it takes and transport the moisture, and moisture is loaded and which influence the circulation pattern of monsoon, and there is a deep rainfall after the dust storm. Here we have tried to study the plasma bubble using GPS. GPS is also important for study the ionospheric plasma bubble. The plasma bubbles are enhancement of ions and electrons in the ionosphere. So, when a signal passes through these plasma bubbles, they degrade the transmission. So, it is also important, and we have a seasonal variations, lots of study we have done in Varanasi, and we found that bubbles are generated in the month of July, that is equinox month, it has a maximum, and the plasma bubbles has a size and shape. So, this shape has used to study the distribution. The GPS is a very important parameter to study the earthquake. So, when there is a major earthquake, GPS is used to find the total influence of this earthquake, and also it is used as a precursor. So, what we have tried to do, we use a GPS system in Varanasi, and we have tried to find the earthquake occurred around Indian regions. So, during 2007 to 2010, and here we have listed 9 total earthquakes which occurred during 2007 to 2010, and these 9 earthquakes are major earthquake, which index, that is the magnitude known as M, is more than 5, 6, 6.8, 6.3, 5.9. So, it is more than 5, and we have tried to see the effect on total electron content. We observed that there is an increase as well as decrease in TEC 3 to 5 days before the earthquake. So, when the earthquake occurred before 3 to 5 days, here I can show clearly, this is the China earthquake which occurred on March 20 with magnitude M 6.8, and here we have plotted 5 days before and 5 days after earthquake, the total electron content, and total electron has a maximum increase in earthquake date, but it has 2 days before there is a peak, 2 days after that is a peak, and it is a quiet day, so there is no magnetic activity. So, this activity in increase in total electron content is totally due to the earthquake effect. So, earthquake generates different types of emissions. These emissions electrified the atmosphere, and this atmosphere becomes conducting, which will produce an electric field, and this electric field influence the ionosphere. So, ionosphere comes up and sometime goes down. So, there is an increase in the ionosphere which is collected by the total electron content influence. This is second example on 29th September at Sumatra earthquake, which is in Indonesia, which has magnitude 6.2, and here also we have seen the precursors before the earthquake, and we observed there is a change in few days before, 2 to 3 days before the earthquake. So, the earthquake is an important parameter, is also studied by GPS, and GPS is also used as a study of a plate movement. So, development of plate tectonic is very important. There is a basic feature of earth, we are familiar that mountains, oceans, these are rising day by day. So, is there single explanation of all these phenomena, how they are increasing, how the volcanoes are increasing. So, major feature of the earth is that there is a extreme region where which is known as ring of fire. So, earthquakes are found in a ring of fire where it is dominant. So, these ring of fire area has major feature of the earth, and this have a regular earthquake. So, this can be studied by GPS. A number of GPS must be installed, and several countries had already started. In Himalayan region, Ministry of Earth Science has installed more than 50 GPS in the Himalayan region prawn area of the earthquake, in Nepal area of earth. Similar several countries like Chile. Chile has installed hundreds of GCP receiver. Similarly, ISRO is also installing GPS receiver. So, Ministry of Earth Science, ISRO is giving set of GPS receiver to study the crustal motion, the rise of the crustal and their movement, horizontal and vertical both. The GPS is a very important. What does it tell us? Future motion of plates. Future motion of plates we can know, and we can calculate if earthquakes are likely to occur or not. If there is a stress between plates, if there is a stress, we can calculate the states and we can say that there must be future earthquake will occur, and that is a great research going on by GPS. Lots of world, several thousands of GPS receiver is implanted, and we are trying to know the plate tectonic motion, because earthquake is very devastating. So, measurements of plate motion can be done. One prediction of plate tectonics is the rate and direction of motion of plates. Can we measure this motion today? Yes, there are GPS receiver. GPS receiver is able to measure the motion, and this is the result. One of the results presented, this is not my result, this is result as I have shown you, this is result presented by Wegener and again in 1969, and they have shown that how the different GPS in whole over the globe, several GPS, more than 200 GPS are used, and you will see that some have a vector is small, some places the vector is very large. So, large effect, several meter rise is recorded by GPS. So, we can use this is a very important parameter. So, this is the tremendous application of GPS in crustal motion, in ionosphere, in solar flares, and in the. So, here I wanted to acknowledge the Ministry of Earth Science who has provided me the GPS and my project. I wanted to thank the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, who has funded us. I also wanted to thank International GNSS services which provide GPS data for Hyderabad and Bangalore, which I have used, and anybody who has a good quality of internet as laptop can download the data of the more than 200 IGS international GNSS services, and anybody who has a good knowledge or method of analysis they can use. And also wanted to thank R.P. Singh of Japan University who have helped us to learn the GPS and find the water vapor calculations. So, several papers has been published in physics department using the GPS, and anybody who has a large, here we have given this some of the papers. So, I wanted to thank for your kind attention. Thank you.